Hello, welcome back to my channel. I've got a few more bits of ephemera and things that I've made today. Well, I haven't made them today, but that's what I've brought you today. There's quite a few, so I'll just sort of get straight into it. The first thing is two variations on the same theme. These are Rhonda Winstead's. I will list everybody down below whose videos I have used, their tutorials, so that if you want to go and see how to make them, then you can do. They're quite self-explanatory, but if you wanted to. These are Rhonda Winstead. She actually calls her snips. They go at the side of a page, and annoyingly I've forgotten to bring a page to show you, so I'll just borrow this one. We have to pretend it's not what it is, but you would pop these at the side of a page just for decoration, or you could glue them down and then just tuck something under there. So they're quite simple. They are very simple, just layering up laces, old book page, more laces, fabrics, different sorts of ribbons, different sorts of papers. And then a similar kind of thing, these are Sagita, Coffee Stains and Shabby doodah and Roxy Creations. They're all variations on a theme. The idea that Sagita and Shabby doodah had was that you get a piece of masking tape, just lay it out, and then on top of that, on the sticky side, you just put all different types of paper, all sorts of different scraps that you think would go together, and then you just you can zigzag, straight stitch. I've done some feather stitch, all different types of stitches, and they make really quite robust I think they call them snippet rolls. Again, I'm really sorry I forgot to bring a journal to show, but you can pop them down the side of a page. The same as Rhonda's really. You could use them as a tuck spot or just as a pretty decoration, or even as a whole page tab. The other thing, obviously on the bigger ones, so there's all different sizes, different types of papers, and they feel really lovely because they take on quite a good texture with all the masking tape, the stitches and all the different layers. I've made, in fact there's a little tiny one that I've just made there. You can make them different widths. This was some of the wider masking tape that I used here, so that made just a different kind of look. Again, when they're on a page they look so pretty. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, you can, if you want to make them a bit more robust, maybe if you were going to tuck things in, pop some card down the back. And then some of these I did make in that way anyway. Roxy Creations tends to do hers that way. I'm just trying to find one that I haven't actually done masking tape on and that I did card. To be honest, I think most of these that I did were masking tape anyway. I don't seem to have one here, but yeah, you can make them with card on the back in exactly the same way, only because obviously you're using card, you wouldn't be able to just stick your pieces of paper directly to the sticky masking tape, but all you do is glue the backs of them and then put them on. But they really, I've made quite a lot here, and obviously that's what I was going to say. The other thing is that you can do them is when, I mean, I've made really quite long ones, and what you can do is, as you're coming to a project that you want to use, you can just literally snip off the bits you want. So if I'd snip that off, and then I might want one that was about that length, and then you can use them, put something else on top of them. I mean, I wouldn't use this, but this is just a quick example. You might decide to put something else on there, and you might have only kept perhaps that bit for tags and things like that. So that's one idea. They really, they just feel lovely, to be honest. Right, other things, still sticking with Roxy Creations. I might have shown these before. These are snippet rolls again, but obviously these are fabric ones. These again are useful. I've decided I'm going to make quite a lot of these. They're quite nice for wrapping around things. So say somebody had bought a journal, you wrap it up. Instead of just using ribbon or twine, you could actually wrap this around it as a tie. It just looks quite nice with brown paper and things. Just done a bit of slow stitching on again, just sticky bits of fabric on, just like you would sticky bits of paper on. Really nice. On here I've actually attached it to a large bobbin, and just for, well, to look at really, to be honest. I probably will use it, but I just enjoy looking at it, so that's another idea. And like I said, all the tutorials will be listed. This is another Shabby Dabby Doodah idea called faux stamps, and you basically use any scraps that you've got of paper, cut them into rectangles. I've got larger ones, small ones, skinny ones, back the actual image onto some book paper, and then I've just gone over them with it's a rubber stamp I've got, and it makes it kind of look like a postmark. You could turn these into altered paper clips, you could just use them to decorate something, just tuck in places. That's Shabby Dabby Doodah. Tsunami Rose, I've made some book page tags. Obviously these are completely undecorated at the moment. Just stuck 2 pages of book page, which makes them quite substantial, and then sewn around them all in black, various stitches, some decorative stitches, some just straight stitch, and then they're ready when I do feel like doing a journal to actually decorate up. But at least here you've got the bases made. I think I might have shown this before, but it's completely finished now. The tab journal that I made using G Kerr's kit, and every single page has now been decorated. It's just, I really love this journal. It's really pretty, lots of places to write, but very pretty. Every single page has been decorated. This was Amity Bloom, I think's idea, a little bit like the snippet rolls, but in this way you actually really use the same width papers to fill a whole strip, and all you do is actually overlap each piece of paper. So there's no masking tape, no card on the back, you are literally just overlapping the pages, and then when you've glued, you know, you just glue each edge, and when you've done that you go in, and I've used zigzag stitch just to go along each seam, and I don't know whether it's franking paper, I can't remember, but it's just another, it's a different look to the paper snippet rolls. This is quite, you know, I don't know, this has just got a more uniform look to it, but you know, it's just something different to do. Firefly 67 Studio, I've used her tutorial to make these. I can't remember what she calls them, they'll be listed down below, but it's basically a couple of book pages. You decorate the fronts up, pop a hole in with an eyelet, and then I've just done a little dangle on each one, and that could be tucked into a journal, it could be glued to a page, it could be a floating pocket, but just another really nice idea. I'm really just gathering lots of little ideas so that when I do feel like making a journal again, I've got all the things. Shabby Dabby Doodah, this is her envelope booklet tutorial. I've made quite a few of these. She says to make quite a few up and just make the bases. So for example, this one, the basics are there, but it would be decorated up according to the journal you're making, and it is literally just an envelope folded in half. Decorate the front, decorate the back, coffee pages, and then you could put in the middle, put your signature so that you can write in it, so it becomes more of a booklet. Some of them I have cut open the edge of the envelope, say here, and that's quite good because then you can tuck something in that. And some of them are fully decorated up. Here we go again, I've cut the edge off this envelope, so it's literally just an envelope folded in half, decorate it. And then I made a little like a pretend file folder tab, pop that in there, it's another journaling card, and I did the same kind of thing with this, just coffee dye paper, nice little tab on there, and that slides in there, and that's just, that could actually be, for example, tucked around a page like that. You could paper clip it in, or you could just tuck it into something. So that's Shabby Dabby Doodah. Another one of her ideas is these little lace fabric clusters. I adore these. These are literally layering up any bits of fabric you've got and different laces, popping one button or 2 buttons sometimes, and they make a lovely decoration for your page. Again, just on the edge. Again, altered paper clips are so much, but at least you've got the basics there to play with once you're doing your journal. This, I think, was Pink Oddbird. It was just taking a book page, fold it into 3, fold it over, stitch around, and I've just decoupaged a napkin onto that, and that makes obviously a little envelope. sounds lovely and has a nice feel. This was a great idea. I can't remember off the top of my head who this was. I have got a list here. Bonnie and Clive. And these are Bandaids, as she calls them, which I think is very funny. Bandaids for your papers. And you either can use them on an actual tear, if you had tear in your coffee dyed paper, or you just use them for decoration. They look just different bits of brown paper, coffee dyed, and then you can just stick them on a page as a decoration. I think they look quite nice on the edge of a page. But similarly, if you actually do have a tear in your paper, they will in fact go around so that you can have them, well, actually you could have them as a page tab as well, but actually to fix paper. So they're basically Band-Aids for your paper, and I thought they were quite funny. We're nearly at the end. Oh, I found some more faux stamps there. Tsunami Rose, she was also doing franking papers. She gets just a page of, one page book page, and then sticks strips of all different types of paper, whatever you've got in. So that's one example, and this is another example here. That's how they start out, and then you die cut shapes out of them. So out of a different sheet of this that I'd obviously made, I've done like a decorative edge, a square, a scalloped circle, heart, an oval, another pretty one. And then what you can do with them is like little images you've got. So like I've got quite a few of these typewriters that are from a kit I bought from Shabby, dabby, doodah, and you could just pop one of them on there, or ribbons, buttons, you know, you just decorate these pieces up. But basically you've got lots of nice interesting bases from a very simple activity. So that's another idea. That's Tsunami Rose. I think I've only got one more thing to show. Oh, two more things. Creative Cafe Girl, I think her name is. She'll be listed below. She does quite a lot of neutral coloured journals, which I adore. And these are just some ideas she's shown recently. I love these little skinny notebooks. So if you had a journal, pretend this was a journal, you can pop them at the top of a page. They sit there really, you know, firmly without having to clip and all the rest of it. And then if your journal cover was there, these just make little interesting things that stick up off the top. But they're full of like just scraps of offcuts, but they look really quite pretty. I've left the threads on most of mine. And because she does tend to do neutral and black colours, she's also made out of old Amazon packaging. She just made a load of different stitches, which again are just there to decorate your page. I'm just really trying to show lots of different ideas. Final thing, which is nothing to do with ephemera really, and I'm trying to remember who it was. Liz the Paper Project. Oh, I got it wrong. It wasn't Amity Bloom. It was actually Joanna Clough who did the scrap paper roll. Liz the Papercraft has done these accordion pockets. One I've made out of literally wallpaper, and one I've made out of some scrapbooking paper. You just pop a circle with a brad, wrap some ribbon round, that's your closure, and when you open it up, you've got a beautiful accordion bag, which in fact is perfect for popping all your bits and bobs that you've made excuse me, safely in there, ready for when you want to use them. It folds up really flat. It's basically a storage idea. Use it for Happy Mail, and they're just concertina bags in there. It's a simple project. Tutorial will be below. That's scrapbook paper, and same thing, only goodness knows how I wrapped this around here. Maybe I did a bow, I can't remember. And some perlé cotton this time I did. That's it. And then there's a lovely sound to it. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets. I think it was 2 paper bags she used. I can't remember. It was quite a while I made these. But I'm just still only making little things. I'm sure I'll make a journal soon. I hope that's been quite an interesting little view of different ephemera that you can make. And if something's caught your eye, have a look at the tutorials below. I've linked everybody I use, and I hope they're useful. And thanks for stopping by. Bye bye.